This week in action.
What a week I'm having!
Could be something.
Talk to the developers.
Are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then get happy.
Too good to be true.
That's not what they did here. When's the money going?
What other horror stories can come of this?
We love Tencent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Action Podcast 62. My name is Aaron, owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG. And with me, as always, is two of my friends, two of the channel leaders, my senior moderators, Daft and Guilty. Say hello, gentlemen.
Going on, people?
Hey, yo!
And I was just filling in these young lads that once again, my body can't handle a germ. So
Getting wrecked.
yeah, man, just like frustratingly wrecked. Now, that being said, I wanted to hold back this small announcement. I didn't even tell Daft and Guilty because they were too busy doing stuff today. This next week on Wednesday on this podcast, the lore master Kyle from 11th Hour Games will be joining us.
Excellent.
So it should be a lot of fun. I've been talking to him. I had to go through the approval process, which is basically just me messaging everybody. Anyways, Kyle, the actual EHG lore master, and one of the original people in the Kickstarter. I don't even know.
Is that true? He's one of the original?
I mean,
He said yes
an
to
original,
me.
not one of the originals.
No, he's in the original.
Yeah, apparently. Is that so? The story is pretty much him from the beginning.
It's probably, yeah.
From everyone here at 11th Hour.
It right here. He's one of these people. I honestly don't know which
Which one is it? The second one up from the left, the very left. That's Kyle.
This one
On
or
the
this
left.
one?
That's your right. Up, down one. Over
This
one.
one?
Over one.
This one. That
No,
one?
up one.
Okay. Mike is in the middle. So left or right of Mike?
Left of two left of Mike.
This guy? This guy.
Sure. Now, realistically speaking, Kyle is probably
You
on
don't
the
know.
very right. I'm guessing. I've been rolling the dice here.
Oh, I don't know
Which one's-
why. And I thought you knew which one is it.
Why
Well,
would I talked to a guy that's got
No.
a different avatar. Why would I know what he looks like?
either way, Kyle, who has been here from the beginning, the lore master for Last Epoch, will be joining us on this podcast next
Kyle's
week.
the guy. Yeah, second. I remember he's on the left in the picture, right under Judd. Like, that's him.
That's
sure.
him?
Pretty sure.
You think so?
Pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm
Not
pretty sure.
two
I remember
ones to the
seeing him.
left?
No, he had this kind of face, this kind of like roundy face, a lot of hair.
Roundy face with a lot of hair.
Like
Well, he's got a
cheeks.
roundy face, so
A
I'll
roundy
find out which
face.
one he is. But anyways, it should be a whole lot of fun. Frodo says, will Aaron talk about how much he hates doing the campaign? That would be awkward.
Oh,
Sir, I'm a very respectful and nice person. He's already asked, like, what kind of questions are we going to ask? And I was like, just basic lore questions, take questions from the community, talk about how you came up with the story, how you see it evolving, the void, all that type of stuff. So it'll be just a lore stream with EHG. So I think it's going to be pretty fun.
That's going to be real fun.
It is going to be fun. And Guilty's going to be nice. Right, Guilty?
I will be nice. I will be inquisitive.
Inquisitive is a good word.
it's a good word.
Daft, how's your week going?
It's going pretty good. It's the middle of the week. Kids back in school, so it's been a little hectic in the mornings. But nothing new, nothing crazy.
Playing anything different?
Yeah.
What about that Spirit one you sent me? What's it called? Spirit is something Spirit?
Spirit
It's a
Hunters?
No,
Oh, you're talking games? Oh, That one I don't have in front of me right now. That one is actually pretty good. It's the hold on real quick. Spirit Fall.
Spirit Fall. Spirit
Yeah.
Fall.
It's a pretty fun game.
It's rogue, right?
It's roguey, it's platforms, and you're fighting things either melee or like ranged, and it's really quick. It reminds you of a couple old like 64 type games, N64, with a lot of jumping around.
Is it 3D or 2D?
It's 2D.
Oh,
platform.
cool. Like Castlevania style. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. But it plays real fluidly. It's super fast paced, so I know you're gonna like it, Aaron. Pretty
would
sure
like
you
that.
like it, Guilty. But it's all about combos and stuff like that. You can punch things in the air and keep hitting them, kind of like a Street Fighter.
Yeah, I noticed there's like
also- yeah.
you have like 4 fists, like 2 and
That's
2.
one of the weapon types. You start off with a weapon, like you either start off with a hammer, like a 2-handed hammer, sledgehammer. The other one's a bow. There's this fisty thing that's kind of crazy. And there's one other one I haven't opened yet. But
That
yeah,
sounds
it's a pretty
cool.
fun game. Pretty
yeah,
fun
Kiwi's
game.
right. It does sound like a Devil May Cry type of game, like a 2D one though.
It's very it's kind of hard, but that's what makes it fun. But there's a lot of cool synergies, and the schools look really cool. It's worth the
like
look. Worth the
Dead
look.
Cells. I like Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah. You can see that.
Guilty, what are you up to this week?
I've been just doing a minute amount of Path of Exile. I'm actually been researching upcoming games. I'm looking forward. There's a Decision game coming out. It's a Star Trek game.
Okay.
I've also that actually it's probably going to get some of my time. It's based off of I think 30 years after Next Gen.
Okay.
You
So,
saw that in
yeah.
your PC Gamer magazine, right?
Yeah, I read about that in PC Gamer. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really well-crafted looking decision game. We'll see what it is.
What does that
That's
even
cool.
mean? A well-crafted decision game.
You remember like Fallout 3 and to an extent New Vegas, or
Yeah,
New Vegas
Vegas-
and to an extent 3.
Vegas was the last one I played.
Yeah, so the decisions you would be given that had impact on the game is apparently this whole game.
That is interesting.
Story-driven kind of
Yeah, but
decision
like
making.
you can
I would think you would hate that, but
choose things. I like that stuff. And apparently you can't be evil. You can't be an evil Captain Kirk or whatever. But
so there is limitations to what you
there's
can do.
limitations to your decisions. Yeah.
Got it.
Gotta stay
Okay.
canon.
Oh, that makes sense. On the screen, as you can see, this is Spirit Fall. This is the game that Mr. Daftly was talking about.
Oh, that's neat.
It dropped early access April 3rd. April 3rd. It actually does look fun, and it looks very, very fast-paced. Okay.
Yeah.
As always, we have a great show for you planned today. And something that I always like to check in on right at the beginning is the last Epoch Steam Charts. There's no news from EHG this week, so we're just going to take a look at this. Now, I just want to be clear, okay? This
Okay.
played in the last 3 hours. There's something with Steam. Every game I looked up has this, like,
This
just like-
down.
It drops.
yeah,
Well,
I
what's
was
going on
looking up.
today?
I mean, I looked up, thought I had it. Path of Exiles. Look at Pia. Like, it's the same thing. They had 100,000. Now it's like this huge dip. I don't know if it's something
but
with
look
reporting.
at that all-time peak at Path of Exile.
It's just a tsunami wave.
Yeah.
system here.
209,000.
But that's only on
526.
the Steam client.
Yeah, that's not even
Nice.
their own client.
I know that's only on the Steam client.
It's massive.
So when you're looking at last Epoch with the POE League fully dropped, you kind of what you're seeing is anywhere from lows in the 3,000, and then on the weekends it picks back up and is always
Yeah.
peaking over 10,000.
Right.
So the weekdays are right around its.
What's that dip in between 13 and 14? Was that a server? down?
It was probably update.
Maintenance?
Yeah, it was probably
maintenance,
maintenance or
yeah.
something like that. That's what you see this dip a lot for Wolfson, you know, like Wolfson stuff like that.
All roads lead back to
All
Wilson.
the roads.
So all in all, I think the game is doing fine, and that's almost exactly what I said it would stick between 6 and 9, and during the weekdays it is falling down. But this isn't a cycle. There's no cycle
It's
content.
Look at Lady. She's like, you had to mention Wilson.
Well, he brought up this down dip, and then I brought up
like, yeah,
Wilson.
it went down to 0. It must be Wilson.
So sticking with Last Epoch for a minute, a survey I put on my YouTube, and I thought we could talk about it for just a second. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger for everyone. There we go. I put out a survey. It currently has 4,000 votes on it. Last Epoch, if last 3 masteries dropped today, what would you try first? And be proud of me, Daft, because I actually went and found these images because whatever reason, I don't think these images you sent me for the 3 masteries. Anyways, I found the images, I put it on there. Falconeer, Warlock, and Rune Master. And coming in last place, which is exactly what I thought, was Rune Master. It's the one that nobody ever talks about.
Jafar.
And then Falconeer came in second.
That's
basically
super surprising to me.
And then the Warlock, 54% of the vote on 4,000 votes. Warlock just mopped.
That's just based off the name Warlock. Warlock, the class, is
could be
very popular. I mean, going back to WoW, if you want to go take it to the Warlock,
Kakishu, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Dreth Shadis, 100%. I'm a Falconer person. Like, I want to play that class or that I guess.
Yeah.
So I was gonna start with Daft and see why he thought this survey was like this, and I was gonna say the exact same thing. The Warlock has a lot more just notoriety because of the name Warlock. I was a Warlock when I played World of Warcraft back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's literally immediately where my mind goes.
Fetus Eaters agrees with you.
Yes, he does.
Great name, by the way.
And yeah, the others, Falconeer, Rune Master. Rune Master is kind of a name that's around in video game lore that I'm, from other games, but not as popular. But I mean, I think just overall, there is so little known about these classes. No one really knows anything except for what base class it comes from, so they have an idea kind of how it play.
But EHG talks about Warlock a little bit, and they talk about Falconeer probably the most.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything about Rune Master ever. Literally,
secret. No, watch it be the best one.
Dark Monk, Void Monk.
I mean, because
from what I understand, the Rune Master is supposed to be like a trapper class, kind of, or something like that.
Lie. You can't trust what they say.
It's like hexes and traps, or
I could see like you cast it's a thing on the ground and it maybe explodes, or stuns things.
I have some ideas when you start to collect the clues.
I'm a minion guy, and I liked Ellie Rogue. If you're a minion person and these are your 3 options, you are going to play Falconeer because this is the minion class for the Rogue.
They said it's not a minion.
The thing, maybe it falls under like the ghosts.
Yeah. They said that Falconeer is not only minion, but it is it will have minion focused synergies. And my guess is that is the Falcon. And then, of course, Ballista.
Yeah, Ballista.
Yeah,
Ballista.
Do you think that the Falcon works as like a boost to the Ballista? Like, if wherever the Falcon is, the Ballista gets a boost, like the spotting type of deal?
They said that the Falcon...
Yeah, target acquisition.
They said the Falconeer will be a mastery unlike any other because it'll be the only mastery that has an inherent skill that isn't a skill, which is the Falcon that is following you around. I don't know what that means.
I bet
I have no idea.
That's a lot of words.
I bet it's a mobile boost. It's a mobile boost with like an AoE that.
Because you would think that logically, when you pick the Falconeer, you have to pick Falconeer to unlock the skill tree, the Falcon, right? I mean, that's Very logical.
Well, I mean, you might just start with it, and the different the different lines will focus on different aspects of it, maybe critical,
but I mean, you can't
damage,
the Falcon has to be tied to only the Falconeer, because if it was its own skill or
Right.
it was a base skill, that would mean that the Falcon could be on a Blade Dancer, or the Falcon could be on a Marksman. So, I mean, it's for sure going to be tied to this
Sure.
mastery only.
I don't know. They've kept it under wraps, so
They've showed us some pretty cool images of it, and they said it'll be, at least at first, the most like MTX'd like thing. So you could turn your Falcon into a bald eagle or a crow or a parrot or a, whatever thing.
a llama.
A llama, a flying giraffe, Guilty, maybe a flying giraffe.
Oh, I can't wait to see the flying giraffe I was promised.
It's true.
I was
Now,
promised that.
As you are looking at this, and remember that a lot of my community, obviously over the years, is Last Epoch. That's why this has 4,000 votes, which, by the way, gentlemen, that's the most votes I've ever had on a survey before.
Wow.
Guilty, what would you play first?
Falconer. Hands
Daft?
down. Probably Warlock. Depending on Rune Master and Warlock, just because I'll play all three and I plan on it.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. And
Yep.
that's 2 weeks of playing, basically, maybe 2.5. Probably Warlock.
I feel like
I don't
I'd play. It's funny because I'm like, why does the Warlock have the most votes? And it's like, well, I would play the Warlock first. And then Daft's like, I would play the Warlock first.
But of the three, I've no particular favorite amongst them. They could be neat and I might like them, but they're not screaming at me.
I'm
But
gonna
that
guess
said-
I'm gonna end up liking the Rune Master the best, though. It's always the ones that are, that's probably gonna suck. Ends up being the best.
It could be cool.
I know. It could be.
Maybe it's a crowd control-y type.
I haven't even
character.
read. I don't think I've read the comments for this one either. I voted with the majority at this time, Warlock, but I'm excited for all three, honestly. I really hope the Warlock is a ranged caster style. Enjoying this game while waiting for D4. Rune Master, any news on when they drop? 1.0. Give me a mage summoner. That would be the Rune Master, maybe.
Hey,
Rune
Phelan.
Master, hands down. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good comments. Okay.
Oh,
Anything-
anyway, the reason there's no flying pink unicorn is because they didn't mention one in their Kickstarter.
But you could ask the lore master next week.
Yeah.
Wow, ask him about that
Falconeer.
flying giraffe from the Kickstarter.
If he's smart,
Okay.
he'll watch this and know what, get some prep.
He's
'cause he'll
got a
hear some
week
of this.
prep. He's got
Yeah.
a week.
I am very excited for this next conversation because I just know it's going to end up spiraling a little bit, but it should be fun and good. Oh, and I'm
Fun and good.
I'll give this a little thumbs up right there. Diablo 4 is bafflingly refusing to implement a map overlay at launch.
Because they don't want to pay for it? Do they not want to pay employees to make something that the people are actively requesting?
This dropped
that
3
it?
days. This has been updated. So this is 3 days ago, and I actually made a video on it. And let me just get out my initial thought. Okay. I feel like at times I can accurately step out of my perspective and step into Blizzard's perspective. What do I mean by this? As much as I hate the thought of having mounts in an ARPG, I know
It's
why
dumb.
Blizzard would want mounts in an ARPG. They're
Because
going to
they're
claim it's
greedy.
open world, but really, I understand the selling of mounts and then selling the MTX of mounts and the profit levers that come with it. I can understand why.
I can understand greed as well.
Exactly. In this particular case, I keep running it through my head, like, why would they not want that? Like, because if you were putting it in a tier, like, let's say Daft, What would
They're
be
going to
something
sell
that
it to
would
you.
be what would be something that is required in a Diablo-like game? What would you
Horse
think?
armor.
Of the
Oh,
other things,
RPW.
overlay. Mine's open 50% of the time, roughly, when I'm playing. Just, it is. You lower the opacity, so it's just at the right,
Yep.
and then it's just there. I can't see why they're putting their foot down on this, but maybe they have their reasons.
Get a silver one. A
But what
black
I mean
one.
is, like, when you
in
talk about,
DLC.
like, if you had to put it in a tier, like a tier 1,
Where does that fit?
what is required? For me, it's like, it's got to be isometric. If you're talking Diablo, right? It's got to be an
Right.
isometric view. It's got to have loot.
So
You've got to have inventory. You've got to have a stash.
Listen to what Frodo's saying real quick. Read that.
I've heard some people say it would be related to PvP in widescreen, where people on widescreen would be able to see more around them, including other players.
I have an
You could-
answer to this.
You could just not show other players on it.
Yeah. Fix it.
Yeah.
That's the answer to it.
In
you make
PvP
millions
mode.
and millions of dollars. Fix it.
But Daft, what is required in the game?
I think the things you mentioned.
Yep.
Some type of
Crafting.
crafting, some type of health and mana situation.
Yep.
Class selection, dual classing, even like in Grim Dawn and stuff. Map that's a map that is the basic area map, so you can
Yep.
see where the towns are and this, that, and the other.
Waypoints, being able to move
Waypoints.
around.
And overlay, I throw into that. Just
I put
it feels
overlay
like it should be
in
there.
like I put
Agreed. I'll agree.
I put overlay in a tier 2 requirement, like
tier 2.
a tier 2. So, what would be more important, a map overlay or having crafting, right? Like there's big ones.
Do you
that I
think
feel
the
like
same
have
team's
to be
working
in it?
on those?
I don't know.
think they work agile. Each team gets something to work on.
Right.
This is AAA company with budget. This isn't like some guy in a garage having like 15 people work and everyone has to do everything.
But Guilty,
The
can you
answer
think?
is fix it. There is no excuse.
But why
get what
would
you're
they not
saying, Aaron.
put it in at the beginning?
I don't care. The answer is fix it. There is no excuse. It's literally a basic thing. Hit tab, map come up.
There's
To be a
currently no
talking-
plans.
talking point, like for whatever that's worth. So it's brought up in the news.
Will there be
they
a
don't
tab
need it.
overlay map eventually added to the game? I really miss being able to look at my map
No
while playing D4.
at the moment.
Rod Ferguson, no plans. at
Rod
the
Ferguson,
moment.
fix it. There is no excuse. That is a basic feature.
It's pretty basic. I'm wondering why they're taking this route, knowing
Rich.
the opposition to the whole thing. It's like, why? It's not gonna. This isn't.
It's interesting too because they put comments down here to the tweet that people replied to. Weird hill to die on and remove a hallmark of how ARPGs are played. That's a pretty pointed and accurate. And it's interesting because when I was streaming D4, when I made all my D4 content, when I made my D4 build guide, I said specifically, I am very confident they're going to fix this because I'm just simply thinking about
I agree.
Torchlight Infinite. Torchlight Infinite Season 1 did not have a map overlay on Season 1. And it was like an outroar from what are you thinking? In Season 2, they added it, right? And I just thought it would be the exact same thing.
I'm trying to remember.
They're like, no plans to
in
fix
Lost
things.
Ark, did we have an overlay map or just the map? I don't remember.
Oh, that MMO we were playing.
Yeah. I don't remember, honestly.
There was there was a map. I don't remember. I
I
think
know
there
we had an
was.
overworld.
Doesn't hurt to have the option to have an overlay or not. And if you don't want it, don't use it. Yeah, you don't have to hit tab.
Did Lost Ark
yeah.
have a map overlay?
What's up, Logout Malgro?
Because they might just trying to bite in little bits off of there and kind of push towards that. If you take out the overlay map, I don't remember. That's why I'm asking in chat if anybody. It's probably people playing it.
Well,
still.
yeah, Berserk. Okay, so Berserk 9 doesn't use them. I would probably think they don't care if they're even in the game, but they wouldn't be mad if they were.
But you can up and lower the overlay, opacity.
Hit tab and turn it
But
off.
if
You don't want
if you don't, berserked if you don't use them, whatever. Doesn't hurt anybody else. So
Yeah.
Like
Tab
you're
in
an
D4
outlier.
pulls up the map and roots the character in place. It's not. Yeah, it's the static base map. It's the menu
Yeah.
map.
Okay.
It's the
I don't want to
Why
beat a
did you
dead
do this
horse,
thing?
but that's literally what it was like in Torchlight Infinite Season 1. You hit tab, it pulls up the map, you're rooted in place,
you're
and then
rooted
you
in
die.
place.
You normally
You
just die.
You die.
But it was like
And
one step
they fixed it.
And then it was also one step worse because when you're clicking around the map, if you accidentally click on your mini map, it also pulled up that map. We called it a map death. So,
But yeah,
Lost
Lost Ark
Ark
had a map, but you could move.
Okay, so
yes.
it did. Okay.
I'm gonna say Blizzard, this ain't your first rodeo, and
It's
you got
one-
fucked off that horse, man.
it's 1000% because of couch co-op.
No one cares.
Ah.
I don't care if it's about fix it. I don't care. Do something separate. Put more money out of the millions into doing a division so Coach Co-op can have its own thing. Fix it. There is no excuse.
Couch co-op
That's-
could technically share one overlay where each player could maybe pull it up. That is so this is what I'm trying to figure out. That is a very, very
You can disable
logical
the feature for Couch Co-op.
but that's a very logical response. Doom.
It's logical. And it seems like they can't think past that. If that is it, like, and that's that is a good way to think about it. Well, we have a problem. What do we do? Oh, well, let's not solve it at all.
I guess that's the gripe. We have to accept it because it's going more MMO. So there's this.
Oh no, we don't have to accept anything. You guys
Well-
can push back. It's real easy to push back
They
and say,
could,
fix
yeah.
this.
I'll just play other games, but
I feel
That's how
like
you push back.
that. Yeah,
I feel like
basically.
even MMOs normally have a map overlay, right? Did it New World?
give
I
it to
swear when I
PC.
played New World, I thought it did.
I don't know. Haven't played many recently.
I
Lost
think
Ark
they
being the
will
last
fix
one.
it. Just got to be mad about it. Exactly. You have to push back. Companies don't do anything unless you push back. Companies will release the most milquetoast, fence-sitting crap
Can we agree
until
though? This
people light them up.
this qualifies as a strange flex though. Like, why this? Like, why
New
can't
World
it be
doesn't.
something edgy and different, not overlay maps, which are just, quality of life? It just seems a weird thing to
Fancy
be
way.
having to push on. But,
Well, I will
Blizzard
say
being
this
Blizzard.
that they just recently came out and fixed a bunch of stuff based upon feedback. So the dungeon layouts they revamped,
Right.
class tweaks, changed some of the fonts, they updated the minions
I'm acting like I'm in
inside,
Braveheart. I'm
like backtracking. They put out a post saying this was the main feedback we heard and this is what we are doing about it. It's already been updated, which is great.
shitting?
Like I try to give credit where credit is due, but there is no way in heck no map overlay was not a top feedback response they got from the community. No way. So which means they read it and know that that's the feedback. And at this
They
point,
balled it up
they don't want to
and
do
threw
it.
in the trash because that's what
Maybe
they
they're
think
gonna
of us.
save it for a Hail Mary. Like they'll save it till way later,
No.
and then they're like,
A
"Oh, hey
map
guys,
will not
guess
fix a
what?
game.
We're gonna put it in. Everybody should be happy now."
I hope
know,
that's
one of
not
those
their
kind of
thinking. Good
Crappy moves.
God. So just imagine, this is people care about this feature clearly, and they're all like, "We're not going to listen to you, the people who pay our bills."
Well, Goblin Gaming says maybe they're going to sell the map overlay, which would be
I
the
thought that
most
too. They're going to sell it
hilarious.
to you. I hope they
A
do.
DLC.
I hope it's $4.99. I hope it costs $4.99, and you can get it in 15 colors.
Well, no, it comes with cool icons too, so you can label it maybe.
Yeah, and I hope it comes
And
out
that
like
makes it worth it.
within 3 weeks of release, not 4. 4,
Cost-
and they might have worked hard for that, but 3 weeks.
He says, cause the problem, sell the solution. There you go.
Yeah. That's how you do it. Make it a problem so we feel like we need to
You can
buy
get an animated one too, guys. An animated pop-up map.
it. Ooh.
Map overlay lock behind a battle pass.
Oh,
I
I hope they're
Kellyanne-
watching. I hope they take all of this advice.
So Kellyanne says, honestly, it's not a big deal. I get it that this is not.
it's a big deal.
It's not fans of Diablo, people that played the first 25 levels and really loved and enjoyed the game.
So,
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker.
Well, no.
My
Spitting in the face of the people who are bitching at you because they need a feature in their game is kind of a big deal.
No, what I'm saying is that there are some people that don't use it and some people that will look at the good and bad and say that there's way more good than bad. I'm saying it's just not, to some people, it's not a deal breaker. And I get that.
No, yeah.
Kellyanne, what I was just simply trying to make a point of is that normally I can understand the decision, whether it's financially or why a company is making it. And in this situation,
It's basic.
I couldn't.
It's a basic feature that's been
couldn't wrap my head around it. And couch co-op, which is still kind of a silly excuse, is
design anything around it.
Logically does make sense because you are sharing a screen with multiple players. So how do you give them each a map overlay? That actually makes logical
Just omit it for them.
sense.
I just use logic and fix that. Don't give it to them. It's a Boolean check.
Yeah.
Fix it. There is no excuse.
Moving on from D4. It's almost pretty much exactly how I thought that was going to go.
Of course.
Path of Exile. Crucible shatters records. Attracts over 321.
No, Kelly, I'm referring to the fact that it is a basic thing.
Moving on from
D4. Basic thing.
Moving on from D4, Path of Exile Crucible shatters records, attracts over 321,000 concurrent players. Now, this is so interesting to me because being a channel where there is a lot of love for Last Epoch and other action RPGs, normally I get a lot of, oh, I'm done with POE, or oh, it's refreshing to play Last Epoch or other games, or oh, I don't like playing spreadsheet simulators. And I do have a large portion of the community that plays POE. I love POE. Nothing to rag on it. It continues to grow after a decade. POE is still growing after 1 decade. Guilty? Thoughts?
So Javi says D4 had 800,000 in beta. D4 has a name. D2 essentially made the genre. They're living off the ghosts of old days. And yeah, good
generations of players. Like I played
generations
Diablo
of players
1
when
I was, in the 90s. And
Not
my kids
there's no
played 3 and 4. So
no comparison can be made. And no one's going to say that Diablo as a franchise hasn't done great things. But this is apples and eggs. You have the thing that started the genre, and it's relying on its namesake right at this moment, and its pretty pictures. And then you have Path of Exile, which started out in obscurity and has grown to something which is the king of the mountain.
Path of Exile's free. That's a biggie.
Yeah, and it's more complex.
Anybody can try it. And
it's
it's
much
got
more complex.
Relatively positive history. So I'm not surprised that
Will
it's
they
still doing
fumble
well.
the transition to PoE 2? So we've talked about this. Like PoE 2 is essentially DLC for PoE 1. They both have the same end game. You go to the mapping, the Atlas mapping.
Free.
So I mean, you could always play PoE 1 if you don't like PoE 2 and go to the same end game.
Right.
Guilty. As the only current person live on stream.
Yeah.
Playing it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it. I haven't liked previous ones. This is fun. The mechanic is a little bit taxing if you overcharge. So don't do that, or do that. It's fun either way. I think it's better than D4. It's
you
more
can't
complex,
let
it's more rewarding.
D4 go. I don't know why I put
It was
D4 in the
context. We're comparing the
podcast.
two.
You literally can't let it go.
I'm saying, I'm comparing the two. We were just talking about the one. It's more complex. It's a better ARPG.
Daft, are
The other's an
you
MMO.
Daft, are you surprised that PoE continues to grow after a decade?
Rotten Gamer, I don't care about sales. I'm not talking about sales. It will sell based off its name alone. I don't care.
Not so much, Aaron. Like I said, they've been a relatively positive company throughout the 10-year that they've been around. I played it a lot more early on. I enjoyed that part of the game. Now it's just too much for me. But that said, it's grown into it has a massive group of people that love that high-paced, competitive nature that PoE offers. So I think the competitive fact plus the longevity and general positivity has kept it, going upwards more than anything else.
I think one thing that PoE has almost over any other game in the genre too is just this insane plethora of content creation and streaming and hype building and a marketing machine like you just don't see. But I always wonder, in my head, it's like, as anybody new to the genre, anybody that wants to try out a game, I guess in my head, I'm just always surprised that technically PoE is still finding new players.
Another thing too,
because it's a great game.
Aaron, I think Path of Exile and Twitch kind of is a huge part of it because they've been a pair for a long time.
Yeah.
Your people have been doing it forever. I think the fact that they kind of brought, of all ARPGs to the spotlight in Twitch with that. And so I think that's a big part of it. It's just so popular on a huge streaming service that even if you don't know what it is, you're going to see it.
I feel like a majority of people would agree that if Diablo created the genre, Path of Exile mastered it.
Some do and some don't. Shasta's right. Yeah.
But, not surprised overall, though. Just
anyways, the numbers do talk for themselves.
321,000 concurrent players after 10 years is unbelievable.
From not being D2, not having D2 to back it or boost it, or D3 to back it or boost it. It's been its own thing, and it has maintained that for that long.
Yeah.
And it's not only just maintaining it, it's growing.
Building.
It's sold out ExileCon in like 23 minutes. They sold out all their New Zealand tickets.
In like an hour, like 40 minutes or something like that. Gone.
Now, I will say, I have not played the Crucible expansion.
So, dude, it's 321,000 people using spreadsheets is incredible.
Well, they're not all using spreadsheets.
They're all using spreadsheets, Aaron.
Some of them are just following
build guides and looking at that spreadsheet.
That's their spreadsheet. So then everyone's using the same spreadsheet, so it's not as many.
I'm using one right now.
Yeah, I know.
It's awesome and I love it, but it still has many rooms to grow. It does.
Go ahead.
From what I've heard is that the season mechanic is not anything special.
That's true, Frodo.
But the skill tree on weapons is special, and they hope it goes core. That's what I would
like to see that go core. That's awesome.
Yeah. This is pretty cool. And this, I know I popped it up earlier in the stream, but that's what I had it ready for, is that it's 24-hour peak. What is it? A couple weeks now into the league is still at 100,000 players. So it's also retaining a lot of those players. Retaining a lot of those players.
Dude, POB is a spreadsheet with a nice overlay. It's got a nice UI.
It is interesting when you watch streamers that are really good at the game play it. I don't know how many programs they have opened at one time, but it is a lot when they are doing their calculations and moving things around and trading. And I mean, they're good at it.
Yeah. They're probably using what's the POE overlay? Is that the new thing from the thing I'm not going to say?
Don't know.
Cassie just said that Crucible is a boosted standard. Yeah.
Boosted standard.
You know what? I could see that because
it means it's a standard game, but it's boosted because of the tree. So like the actual mechanic is.
Anyway, I would say a spreadsheet. If you can look at someone else's spreadsheet. So yeah, if you're looking at someone's path of building, there is tabs in there that are a spreadsheet. So
sure,
yeah, you can use someone else's spreadsheet. If you're looking at path of building, there are components to that. It's a spreadsheet.
Rotten Gamer asks at Aaron, so having to do a spreadsheet to make a character makes it a great game. Sorry, it makes it a bad game.
Well, that's a subjective thing. So subjectively, you're correct, and subjectively, you're also wrong.
So Path of Exile is how I classify it is the professional ARPG. If you want something that is very complex, that has endless content, has hundreds and hundreds of different build guides, and has been continuously updated with a content machine like nothing the genre has ever seen, you play Path of Exile. It has been the king of the ARPG mountain for literally a decade, and they continue to grow. Building. They continue to grow. You know, I mean, I'm not saying the game's for everybody. I'm not saying everybody wants
to
use a spreadsheet.
Tools. Okay, so Grim Dawn and
it's just complex.
LE, damn it, made tools for both those games, and they're indispensable to me. I use them when I play both games.
Right.
POB is just that for LE, and since it's a more complex game, it's going to be a more complex system. It stands to reason.
But POE isn't
not bad.
But POE isn't good just because it's complex. POE is smooth. It runs great. It's got the best MTX. Right. It's got the great stash tab. It's got decent crafting.
Yeah.
It's got a player-driven economy. It's got multiplayer. It's got endless end game content.
The stash tab is I don't know. It's got
mechanics,
are you talking about
dynamics, and aesthetic.
Are you talking about the specialty ones, Aaron?
Yeah.
Like the jewel ones and then the whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are neat.
Yeah.
I had a few of those.
And then I will say, and I'm not like, this is the only game I would ever say this for because I feel like they're ungodly too expensive, but the quality level on their MTX is unbelievable.
So my comparison to complexity is that D4 is so lacking in complexity that it's not enjoyable to me. That makes sense?
Sure.
I literally would go to LE, Grim Dawn, Path of Exile, Victor Vran. Maybe not Victor Vran. Maybe Victor Vran. I think that it needs more time to bake in the oven. That skill tree is lacking. I don't like it. Just because something is complex, things can be overly complex. POE has had a decade to make its complexity balanced. And sometimes it sucks. Some leagues suck. This league doesn't. Not to me anyway.
Well, if they do them so often, not everything's a win.
I am not going to comment on the complexity of D4 until I've actually seen its end game. Then I'll be able to confidently.
I was talking about a skill tree.
Its skill tree is not complex. That is true, but maybe the Paragon board will be.
Ooh.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't like commenting on stuff until I actually try it.
That's true.
Or at least see someone else trying it.
The thing that exists is not complex.
Wonder how many actual people spend money in POE. POE is a very financially successful game.
Yeah.
Anybody would say that gets through at least one good character and enjoys the game, they'll probably put money into it because they didn't pay anything at that point.
And I feel like most people looking at the D4 skill tree would agree that it is not complex. I don't think that's
I'm talking
debatable.
The current skill tree. But the Paragon board, even the people who have seen that are saying there's mixed things on that. So when I see it for myself, I might change my tune. It might be super cool. But currently, the skill tree I have, I do not like.
Rotten Gamer says gameplay and graphics trumps any game that's complex. For me, fun will always come before visuals.
Game
Just
is a game, and
always.
Me too.
graphics are graphics. They're not
Yeah.
the same thing.
Visuals are a bonus or luxury. It's a great way to put it, but it's not required. And I always, Minecraft,
Yeah, like
Roblox are like
do you
the
like
biggest
the
games in the world.
graphics in chess, Aaron?
Exactly.
Do you like,
I like
the
that one
graphics in poker?
When me and a board man were playing like Warhammer battle chess.
Ultra chess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, Regicide.
Yeah, Regicide.
They took the servers down for that. It's depressing.
Not this stream, but it was the previous stream. We looked through the MTX bundles for Path of Exile.
Chess set.
And no, it's not Unreal Engine 5 visuals, but what they actually do with these skill tree. It's pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
Frodo.
It is pretty cool stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Frodo. I do too.
Moving on.
Got that nice.
Yeah. Games are mechanics. Art can never carry alone. I agree. But I'm a system designer, so I'm sure there's an artist out there saying, "No, but I make everything pretty, and
I do
people like
the
eye candy."
arts, but maybe because I've played games from 2600 forward, I can appreciate gameplay, and then graphics have always gotten better as games got, to where we are now over the last 40 years. So, yeah.
Well, we play ARPGs, right?
Yeah.
What's the cornerstone of that genre?
What would you say?
The system design?
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what you play them for. The hunt.
While you two are talking, I pulled up Wolfson's Steam chart.
Oh,
because
good God.
I like doing that.
All the roads.
15 minutes ago. Wow.
Hey,
It's not bad.
Good
Not
for
bad.
them. Good for them.
a couple of them might be in the Discord. So we have a few people who still play, or at least talk about it.
I still getting requests for my "Is it fixed yet?" video. I just haven't.
Enjoyability of gameplay does not equal complexity, though. That's yes, Flenzer's absolutely correct.
Correct. I agree with that too. It's how
correct.
It's complexity can be part of it, but it's more or less how the game's delivered to you, the tone it's delivered to you, like the atmosphere, all those things come into play for me. Until I've been playing the game for a few years, and then that all goes out the wayside, and it's all about the mechanics. But early on, it's the feeling, it's how the game treats you, how it introduces concepts, how it does all that early on is generally the sign of a good game. If it does it well,
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like a tutorial. It plays you through it.
Yeah. Like, okay, so look at Allegri says art team has been carrying Blizzard, especially WoW, for years. Yeah. Their art's pretty, like, I know some people don't like that aesthetic, but the people who do recognize that it's for what it is. They're really good at it. And I like it. Was it I'll be sad if I can get fully geared in D4 in 2 days. Ooh, and it's maybe.
It's funny because when I'm playing, typically I just have a class and a thing. The timing of when I play games is like the least relevant for me. I don't like set goals like that. Like right now I'm playing a Lich in last Epoch, and it's been super fun. And I just now getting into the Echoes, Aaron.
Finally,
just because I tried to go there at 25, like 26, but it was too rough with the Acolyte because my resists were just garbage at 25, 26. So I went in for one run, and it took so long, and I almost died like 10 times. Just trying not to die, So I'm like, screw this.
Well, it's hard when you're running hardcore characters.
That's the other part. It's a hardcore character, so I don't want to lose, like, get killed just trying to go early because I didn't have any of my idle slots. You know the deal.
What's up, ex-atheist?
Okay, this is what I want to say about D4. Okay, D4 will most definitely be a game that I think will have a lot to do. Okay. Because you
Lost Ark.
can go into
Mhm.
hunting for freaking little statues, and you could go to the
Mhm.
tree and get little bounties or whatever the hell they are, and you could go into the PvP fields, or you can go into the 100 dungeons and collect rewards, and you can go fight the world bosses, and they're going to have seasonal content, so they're going to continuously, just like PoE, give you stuff to do. I don't feel like the longevity of Diablo 4 is going to be like, I have finished everything there is to do. And then there's going to be min-maxing, and then there's going to be all kinds of other stuff like that. My concern for D4 is cookie cutter. What I mean by that is that if you want to make a minion build, you make one of these three. If you want to make a fire build, you make one of these three.
Yeah.
What I worry about is build diversity. It was one of
Right.
the things that I never liked about Lost Ark, was that, you know, all of the sorceresses, which I was, were all pretty much the same, because we knew which were the best skills, especially with the fact that you can now pull legendary affixes and put them on different items. It is going to be even easier to recreate build guides. So that is my overall feeling on D4. I think the visuals are going to be the best. I think the cinematic and story is going to be the best.
They
I think-
are currently.
I think they're
Yeah.
going to give you
Very
good
good.
seasonal content that is going to keep you entertained with stuff to do. I just worry
Maybe
that
not.
everybody
will end up being the same.
Aaron, there was a ad that ran over your
I know.
G4 ass kissing.
Well, you know, sorry, I don't run the ads. You have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, watch it tomorrow. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so D4 is gonna be deeper than it is. Obviously, they're not gonna give you the whole game for a beta.
Let's hope
Mhm.
not.
However, based off of D3 and how long that went and what they did with that, we can make some assumptions. We should not base anything on these assumptions, but they would still be fair.
Let's go ahead and give that D4 speech again.
Oh boy.
Now it's going to be like a different
Oh,
speech, so it's going to
The
be
most
like
recent Shasta, the most recent D3 season was awesome. It was super fun.
basically what my speech in detailed is. I said that visual, story, and cinematic D4 will be likely the best, and I'm not concerned with not having anything to do at endgame. I think that Blizzard, especially with seasonal content, is going to give plenty of content for people to do. I said that what my concern will be is cookie cutter. And what I mean by that is, like in Lost Ark, if you wanted to be a certain build, you knew exactly what build to make because everybody was the same. And looking at the skill tree and looking at legendary affixes being able to be put on items so easily, I'm worried that if you want to make a minion build, you use this. If you want to use a fire source, you do this. I'm worried about build diversity and everybody just looking the same. That is my concern. I'm not saying that that would happen because I don't have access to the Paragon board to see how much actual difference you're going to be able to change. But my gut feeling will be that there will be not a lot of build guides.
Well, okay, so
It's my
every
gut
game
feeling.
has a meta, though. What game doesn't have a meta? So
Well, should.
that's not fair to attack them for having a meta. It's fair to attack them for having a meta that's like 3.
But the
We
meta
play these
being
3 builds. If
Yeah,
that ends,
yeah.
yeah.
That's the thing, because of what time I played on the skill tree, I saw it was pretty basic. Obviously, this could change, et cetera, et cetera. But the way it looked early on, it was very basic. So up to Paragons, at least, the class differential is going to be pretty, I don't know, small.
Ooh.
Paragon probably changes that. I'm not a huge. I didn't
Could
play
be.
much D3 either, so I don't really
Yeah.
even. I understand what Paragon system is, but I never played that one much either. But that said, it's just a way to spice up your class. But I don't know. I just ever since for the last 6, 8 months, it seems like a game that if I get a hold of it, I'll play it once in a while. If
So-
I pick it up,
We've
But it
got
doesn't
some people.
feel
Daft.
like I want to. What?
Read
So-
that. I think you can appreciate the last 5.
Jesus.
Let's see.
They're things you and I have talked about in private, and we've talked about with Aaron.
POE,
Last 6 now.
Yeah.
POE suffers a lot from build diversity. I have a false sensation of multiple builds. If your build sucks in POE, you're doomed at Act 5. I'm not
5,
even
right.
joking.
No, that's accurate. Well, it's the
That's about right.
You're Aaron's right. It's I guess the professional ARPG.
Sure. You gotta
Yeah.
really put some time
Literally,
into
you
it.
could go to Last Epoch and make a B build. You could go make a sword and
and
board.
run
You can make
through
a shield throw. You could make a hammer. You can make direct smite. I mean, there is,
Right.
when it comes to build diversity and being able to just have fun, like I want to play a meme build. I want to play a meta build. I want to try and create something on my own.
Right, Frodo.
Like, I feel like they do an amazing job. I don't know.
Well,
But of
so,
course,
like-
there's going to be meta as well.
Well, there's meta in POE. There's meta in LE. There's meta in D4. Even at just the beta, there was meta. There's meta in everything. You
Yeah,
can't escape it. If you
it's-
make a system, someone will crack that system.
Yeah, it's part of the whole social media, the world we're in. Everybody talks and shares, and it's common.
It'll be
Oh.
done the first day.
Yeah, I see it in our own Discord though.
Mhm.
A lot of the players will ask questions, and they'll ask, "What's the meta? This, that, and the other." I generally will say, "I don't know. Here's this build you could do. That's that to follow it." But that said, in LE, you don't need necessarily to be handheld. You can, like Aaron said, go off on your own and do okay,
You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
and you'll learn as you go on.
Yep.
Yeah, a bad build in LE will carry. You could actually probably go into. You can go into end game with a bad build.
and struggle and hate yourself.
You'll struggle and hate
Yeah.
yourself, but you can still do it. You're gonna die, but still be able to push. To an extent, but you
Yeah.
can't do that in POE.
I bet you I could make a mage that can go into endgame and do decent with only using the base skills and the base passive tree. I'm just,
Oh, happy
Yeah.
birthday, Exathius.
oh, happy birthday, sir.
Oh,
Okay.
humble birthday.
I've got a couple more things for the stream, for the podcast tonight. Unless
Mhm.
anybody wants to talk about Wilson. I just put it up there because I just knew people are going to be like, he put Wilson. I actually don't want to talk about Wilson.
Wilson's
is
been up
a-
there for a long time. That's free advertisement. They owe you
There
money.
is a
Yeah.
rogue that I really enjoy and that I have a good relationship with the studio, and they are sad right now because Endless Dungeon has been delayed to October 19th,
What?
2023.
Oh no.
Yes.
What
Woo.
reason?
They said something about quality right here. We're
Okay.
grateful and honored that players are looking forward to playing Endless Dungeon. The feedback we received across our open dev sessions so far have proved to us that we truly have something special on our hands, and we want to ensure we have time for the game to reach its full potential. Players have always been at the heart of our studio's philosophy, and releasing Endless Dungeon in October will allow us the extra time to keep working with the community and polishing the game for an amazing day one experience. We can't wait for fans of the universe and newcomers alike to experience Endless Dungeon's unique gameplay combination of rogue, light, tactical action, and tower defense.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
This game is a lot of fun, and me and Guilty played it on stream, and we got wrecked pretty hard because he stopped.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't guarding the thing the whole time. I had to keep trying to run to save you and save the thing. And
Is that what happened?
That's how I remember it happening. I don't know.
Oh, let's see how Stream remembers that happening.
That's what I remember. So Endless Dungeon has been delayed October 19th. And keep your eye on this one because it's going to be good.
Well, good for them to make that decision to hold it off. You know, some devs will get antsy and just put it out and then crush their sales going forward.
You know, I mean, delays happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's almost like you
Just
come
look
to
at Star Citizen.
Yeah, I guess you like come to expect delays. But if it's like release the game that's going to do bad and get ripped apart on Steam with reviews, or push it off and release a good game, you know.
Yeah. It's okay. So if anyone, I'm sure most of you have played Endless games, like Endless Legends.
Played several
Endless
4X
Space
games.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like they make a good game. They make a quality product.
Quality UIs, quality sound, the whole
Mm-hmm.
the whole package. Yeah.
Endless Legend won Game of the Year 2014. Pretty sure that I think it was 2014.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Last but not least, the last story we have. V Rising's Secrets of Gloomrot new cinematic trailer gives off some Dr. Frankenstein vibes. Some pieces of corpses here, some lightning there, and you have yourself a monster. Now, the action RPG Discord at one point had our own server for V Rising. Gentlemen, is this a game we're going to play again?
I would like to. We need to get a group that's willing to set aside like 8 hours in a day. Because that style game, it's addicting. You keep on wanting to play.
Yeah.
And if you leave, you're screwed. You need to get
right?
together for long periods of time.
I mean, we could do a non-PvP server, but that doesn't seem fun. You know,
No, we did a private PvP server before.
We did a full loot PvP server. Was the first
full
one.
loot.
That was the other part.
Full loot
server.
PvP server. This is one of those games.
Oh, some people are down. Goblin
I tried to
Gaming
like
says
the
he's
game,
down.
but I could not. This is one of my surprise games of last year. I actually I said it in my video. There was 2 vampire games, Vampire Survivors and V Rising. I thought both were good. This game I ran out of content to do. So this new Gloomrot actually looks pretty good. It's only a minute long. Let me play the trailer for you.
Cool.
A new force of nature. Evolution perfected. Unlimited power. They will witness. They will fear. My greatest creation! Rise! Rise!
Anybody who's here who wants to play, join that Discord right there.
Yeah.
If you're not,
yeah,
get
we
something
have
together.
played it.
They're adding a lot to the game. It's
It looks, but the game is already great. That's the thing. It was already a good game.
It was already a good game.
It just demanded a lot.
It reminded me of Minecraft, but not Minecraft.
I could see that.
Just
I could see
it's
that.
the same type of game where you're building a thing and collecting and killing.
So one, it is a free expansion. So if you already own the game, you do not need to purchase Gloomrot. I'm not a big fan of the name Gloomrot.
Diablo, take note.
I was like, what? Free expansion.
Yeah. You pay $100. Every expansion better be free.
So it's a world revamp. So basically, you're going to get a whole new area to explore. They're putting in weather hazards now, trading hubs, but some NPCs don't like vampires. You might have to kill them. You now can take your castle up multiple floors. So instead of having long, you could go up and add staircases and things like that, which I think is cool. They're adding 13 new bosses. They're adding 30 new enemy types. They're adding a new school of magic, which is called Storm. And that's the lightning. It's a lightning class. They're adding in new weapons. They're adding in a new tier of weapon, legendary. They're adding in new crafting, and they're completely changing up the combat system where it'll be more about actually kind of creating a build. You're going to have equipment. You're going to have choices with your skills and how you actually want to build out your vampire.
It almost feels like a 1.0 launch.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like the original was just the base game. And now they've revamped the world. So probably the entire world looks different, even where you start and stuff like that. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm always just more curious about, like, you know, keeping attention, and because sometimes we get into these games. I feel like the last game that was a little different that we've never really played was Inquisitor, and that actually kept our attention for a while. Yeah. We played Inquisitor for weeks and weeks.
Great game.
And we had people that were, you know, updating multiple classes.
But it's so big. You have to go through essentially 3 stories in that game to get to the point where you don't have to do it again. Yeah. It seems more complex than it is, but it's still more complex than other games.
Yeah, it is actually.
But its complexity is like not tedious. Like once you learn it, you're like, oh, why didn't I see that at first?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a survival game. So I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get wrecked. But I think it looks good. I made a video on it. I wanted to add it to the podcast because it was a super popular game for 2022. It was one of those games where it dropped for $20 and it sold like, what was it, like 600,000 copies? I mean, it sold a million.
It sold. Yeah, it was great. It's a good game though.
And it was really one of those things like Asmon and Quinn and all the big ones started playing it, like, and then, you know, it just turns into
an early access game selling DLCs. So currently early access is a sales gimmick
for the most part, because you get on Steam.
Yeah.
And then you get the people who want to be in first.
Like, yes, there's some smaller indie groups that don't do it. They refuse to do it because,
I mean, when you look at the last Epoch Kickstarter, when you're talking about early access, this game was due 1.0 April 2020. So just when it was due 3 years ago.
Did you do any of those supporter packs, Aaron?
No, I didn't.
I did the second one. That was
wow.
Journey or whatever it's called.
Ray Stantz. There's a quote.
$10 for the game.
I've worked in the private sector. They demand results.
You did Traveler or Seeker?
Traveler.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was a Kickstarter. That's pretty cool.
So you got the $35 game for $10.
Yeah.
I will also say that I am not a fan of the
Yes, Bra 87.
This game is early access forever. I hate that as well. I hate that as well. Okay. Gentlemen.
Go scroll down. Show them the flying giraffe.
Oh gosh, we've already looked at this before.
Yeah, but it makes me happy on my insides.
Itera, $5,000. Last Epoch team will design and implement an exclusive mini pet to your specifications within reason that no one else will have in the world of Itera besides you. And then on here it says flying giraffe right here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the joke, is that, you know, the lore master will say that something can't be in the game because it doesn't fit the lore. Yet in the Kickstarter, it says a flying giraffe.
But Aaron, if you look closely throughout the campaign, there are many creatures, like the whale, for instance.
There is a whale.
There's
Mm,
real world creatures in Last Epoch that exist throughout
Is
the
a
campaign.
flying giraffe a real world creature, though?
Not that one. That one flies a little over that.
Flying
But
giraffe.
you know, maybe we could talk to the lore master next week about the flying giraffe.
void giraffe. Yes, Eway. See,
The void
Eway's
giraffe.
thinking.
Yeah.
Mm.
well, if you
Wait,
drop
Paul.
$10,000, the Last
Moby
Epoch
Dick for
team
pet,
will
upper gecko, yes.
design and implement a unique boss encounter, including art, mechanics, animations, and environment to your specification within reason. Be immortalized in the world of Eterra for bringing the player base a memorable encounter. This boss and your zombie will have the highest chance in-game to drop the items designed by you.
That
Four.
one is just
Quattro.
crazy. How many? 4 people bought that.
Four.
Do you think that those 4 are actually some of the devs? I do.
Do you think it's like, yeah, Judd bought one?
Yeah, you gotta support your own game, so you know.
It's Judd, Mike, Lore Master, Kyle
If I-
did it.
I feel
Yeah.
like if I ever get a live interview with Mike or Judd, I'm going to be like, hey, which boss fights out of the 4 backers that spent 10 grand were created by them?
That might cause drama. They go,
That
we
being
haven't
said,
actually implemented.
Look how
those
far we've come from this.
from that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
from the Kickstarter to
Oh.
what we currently have.
What?
The original layers of Last Epoch were just tons of purple dudes.
And they
And
did it without
5,000 skill
AAA
points before like
support.
level 10.
Like
Upper
they
Gecko
were-
ever met a player with 10K pack? No, I've not.
No, but there are 4 of them.
Boardman bought 3
Yeah,
Immortal
yes, he
packs.
did. That's
That's
how
why
he
he-
got the boardsman set.
He had to buy 3 to get his own set.
Oh.
He
Yeah.
spent. I know Boardman spent 3 grand. I know that for sure.
Hey man,
And Quiet bought
Better
2.
works.
He bought Quiet bought 2. He's got Quiet Forest Belt and Ravenous Void. Those are both Quiet's uniques.
I
So
think I have
I mean-
the void.
People that follow the channel know how Aaron's will came to be.
Yeah.
It's just because Judd is a man of his word, and he doesn't. If he says something, he does it.
Yep.
That's how that happened. Like, so
I'm a man of
he's a
my
pretty stand-up guy.
word. Yeah. No, it was really, really
He really
cool.
is. He really is.
I know. It's cool. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for our podcast 62 tonight. I knew Diablo was going to be. I knew right when I brought up Diablo. It was
No
just
solo
going to
cup.
be
They
off
closed
the
it.
rails. Yeah, you can't get new packs. That being said, it has been 100% confirmed that there will be new supporter
Of
packs
course.
coming.
Obviously.
So just be real. Okay, not gonna lie. I do want this shirt. I'm always looking around to see if I could find one for sale. This like old school Last Epoch shirt.
Mm.
Mm.
I want that shirt. Let me Judd. May I get Judd? to
Just
sell
tell
me one?
Mike you want it. He'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
He might have an old
No,
one.
I
On the
don't
floor in his
know.
closet.
I don't want the one he's been wearing for a decade.
Beggars can't be choosers.
All right, I would take. All right, I'd take the one he was wearing for a decade. You're right. You're right. All right, everybody.
I bet you would.
If you have not checked out our Discord yet, here is the link. Non-toxic gaming community. We jump from game to game and we play together. It is always a good time. Me, Daft, and Guilty are going to do our bonus hour, which, believe it or not, normally gets more spicy. And that bonus hour is for Patreons only. And I get asked all the time, Aaron, what is the best way to support? It is the link I just put in the chat.
It is.
Patreon is always the #1 way. So if it was between a YouTube membership or a subscription on Twitch, Patreon would be numero uno. So that's all we've got. Good chat as always. Sorry that I'm
I got one.
coughing and nasally.
Hey,
you know.
Daft, check out Upper Gecko last Opera Gecko.
I did see that.
Yeah, we need a guilty,
Yep.
resolve, and a daft determination as uniques.
Those
Got
would
that,
be good.
I like it.
Sounds
Notated.
great.
Guilty, since you're all hyped up tonight, you get the final word.
Join us in Patreon only, everyone. Good night.
Yep. Take care.